Have you ever been nervous before presenting to a large audience or performing in front of a large crowd? For most of us, the answer to that question is yes. However, have you been so utterly nervous or uncomfortable in a certain type of social situation or gathering that you avoided going altogether? If you answered yes to that question, you may actually have social anxiety disorder. So social anxiety disorder is actually a mental health condition, also known as SAD, SAD, in which the person affected feels like they're being constantly watched or judged in a negative manner. With this being said, oftentimes the person who is struggling with social anxiety disorder is misjudged or misdiagnosed as just being shy. But the difference between being shy and actually having social anxiety disorder is something that can put a big dampener in your life and can also stop it altogether. So social anxiety disorder is also something that I have struggled with my whole life. So I feel very inclined to talk about this and spread awareness for it. So again, social anxiety disorder is classified under two different categories, one being specific, one being general. With specific, it deals with a certain type of social situation in which your anxiety increases or becomes just too hard to deal with. With general, it deals with being uncomfortable or anxious or nervous in various situations across the board. So the difference between the two types of social anxiety disorder that we just went over is physical and psychological. With physical, it's most likely to be shown in situations where you're performing some type of way. With psychological, most of those symptoms go unnoticed by many people on the outside, but are very harmful to the person dealing with it. Without treating those types of social anxiety disorders, it can cause many problems on down the road, including some communication issues with people in your personal life as well as your professional life. With that being said, anxiety, if it takes over your life, it can cause you to have missed opportunities, again, in your personal life and in your work-related life. You can have communication issues in your personal life and your relationships and cause missed opportunities for your relationships with your social or with your significant other or with your friends to stop from growing. It can cause problems in your professional life as well, to where it causes you to miss opportunities when it comes to climbing the ladder at your workplace. It can also lead to depression or thoughts of suicide because you're isolating yourself from the world and you're constantly confining in only yourself. That's a very dangerous thing to do. Self-medication can also be a huge factor when it comes to having social anxiety disorder and can lead to oftentimes a lot more issues. So social anxiety disorder, again, can occur at either a later age or a younger age, depending on just when it hits you. So with this being said, in children, anxiety tends to occur when the child constantly fears failure in their life, whether that be in their personal life again, or whether that be in their school life. A lot of kids, it affects their schoolwork even. So the fear causes children to not have any kind of urge to socialize with their peers. It causes them to not have any urge or want to go to fun things that they're supposed to enjoy, like maybe a school field trip. It causes them to not try their best in their schoolwork as well, fearing that even if they try their best, they're going to fail anyways. They always fear that they're going to be judged. In younger children, symptoms like tantrums, nightmares, avoiding talking or participating in social situations, even fun ones, or refusing to even go to school or those social situations in general can be common signs of your child having social anxiety disorder. In older children, signs such as sweating, nausea, headaches, dizziness, and poor focus tend to often occur the most in regards to children having social anxiety disorder in older ages. So according to my first research, childmind.org, although most anxiety disorders in children start to show signs of development around the age of 8 to 15, you can see their anxiety start to develop at older ages as well. So with this being said, of course, the earlier the treatment is sought, the better the outcome. Those who are diagnosed with social anxiety disorder can oftentimes see a genetic pattern in their social anxiety disorder and their anxiety brought up as well, and which means that it could be passed down to them. With this being said, factors like the environment as well and their society can cause and their brain pattern can affect whether or not they have social anxiety disorder or whether or not they're more prone to acquire it if they don't have it. According to my second research, Verywell Mind, if you have a first-degree relative with social anxiety disorder, you may also be 2 to 6 times more likely to develop the disorder later on down the road. With that in mind, that's a total of 1/3 of all diagnoses of social anxiety disorder directly coming from genetics. Environmental changes can also affect one's psychological state tremendously and cause you to acquire that social anxiety disorder. More people who notice that their friends or family that they're struggling with social anxiety disorder or their mental health when they're growing up also tend to take away the same thing in that situation. You see your family members struggling with it, you're more likely to struggle with it when you're older as well. There are three ways children return and learn social anxiety disorder: direct conditioning, observational learning, and information transfer. That's also the same thing coming from my research, very well mined. So with all of this in mind, many people struggle with social anxiety disorder, whether it be obvious on the outside or not so obvious, in multiple different types of way. So basically, avoidance of social anxiety disorder can lead to major problems, and it's very important that you pay attention to your body and mind and you listen to what it's telling you. With that being said, you might want to get treated if you feel that you might have it too.